Hello, everybody. Welcome. You know, when we are very small, when we are first born, and we are exploring the possibility space of physical embodiment, the possibility space of our senses and faculties, we are training our nervous system with experiments. The experiment of attempting to grasp with the hand. The experiment of emitting a vocalization. The experiment of the disappearing face, otherwise known as peekaboo. It's so funny because if we, I see. The other day I was here and one of the very small diving water birds, she has a child with her. And she disappears under the water and appears far from her child, and then the child comes to her, pleading for food. And this is how I come myself to being, to the possibility of insight, to sensing, to loving, to wonder, to awe, to curiosity. This is how I come to the world. Because it all disappears into mystery in the night, mystery and dreaming, and then it all reappears again in the morning as if it had always stably been precisely where and what and how it seems to the waking mind. When we are small, we are exploring the possibility space of physicality, and we are not committed yet to being human. We are still more than human in all of the senses of the intact potentialities of our mind, our body, our spirit. And we are then also less than human because we have not yet undergone the strange amputations and circumcisions that languaging and enculturation will subject us to, nor have we undergone our resistances to them. Right? So it's a very profound and nascent kind of situation. Nascent. Yeah. Filled with potential, delicately fragile, set to undergo astonishing elaborations of ability, but then set to undergo astonishing deprivations of potential. The children are non-human intelligences. They are. We think they're We think they're human intelligences because they're in a human body. Whatever made you suspect that only human intelligences inhabit human bodies, or that, I mean, more and more, if you actually take the existence of the soul seriously, or the 7 different kinds of souls, soul-like elements, soul-like principles that might be associated with an incarnate being, if you take those seriously, why do you even believe in humans at all? Because one of the most provocative ideas that has ever come to my mind has arisen in my mind lately. And it's the idea that we're a platform for the transpresence or the communal presence of many beings. We might be a summation lens, a sort of a bowl, right? Imagine a magical ceremonial bowl inscribed with symbols by the spirit of time-space itself, right? So and this bowl is the perfect attractor for a broad array of possible intelligences. And the world will naturally pour minds into this bowl that we call the human being. We think we're human. I think we're probably a platform for the transpresence of other intelligences. And when we stopped being that, when there was an accident long ago, by the way, in case you don't believe me, right? If you think what's this guy talking about? He's just making shit up. Okay, think really carefully about your own childhood. Your own conception, your own embryogenesis, your own birth. Because your mother was literally a platform for the physical transpresence of your body. She built you inside her with her cells and chemistries. She made a you within her. She was a platform for your physicalization from this very useful and interesting perspective. So go ahead, don't believe me. Decide I'm out of my mind. Be my guest. Make any kind of decision you want. I mean, if you're not getting any mileage, there's no reason for you to be here with me. But I'm pretty sure you're getting some mileage, so let's continue on together. I'm getting some mileage right now. We've been trained to think that humans are a special kind of animal, the best kind of animal, the most complex animal, the dominant animal, the mechanical animal, the intelligent animal, the animal that knows that it knows. Homo sapiens sapiens. I'm not sure that we know. I don't think it's uncommon for us to engage in sophisticated metacognition unless we are with other humans who are doing that. But children naturally do this. Also, in case you still don't like the idea that we're a platform, what I'm talking about when I say that we're a platform for the transpresence of non-human intelligence, or intelligences, think about the entire history of religion. Because that's pretty much exactly what religion is saying. It's saying something that resembles a template. And the template is, you are a platform for non-human intelligences of divine, ancient, and sophisticated forms. Please avoid the demons, be careful around the angels, and feel free to dip into God or Goddess at any time. Don't get confused. Don't bond with the shadows. Be careful of the brightest lights. Find your way back to your original family and celebrate. Don't forget. Remember your origins, natures, intentions. Something like this is the core of all religions. But no one has come forth and said, basically, fundamentally, that the earth is filled with UFOs. Or actually, the earth is filled with, okay, what am I going to call these? MOPs. Mysterious organismal platforms. All right? The earth is filled with mysterious organismal platforms. That's beautiful. I just found a quilted heart, and it says, I found a quilted heart, www.ifaqh.com. What a beautiful way to be a human being. Just go around quilting hearts, hanging them on stuff, letting people find them. I'm gonna make a picture of this, maybe, for this video. We'll see what I use. But anyway, let's get back to the topic here. So I'm having a little outdoor adventure, and it's gorgeous. I mean, it's just amazing to be alive, a living human being this way. So let's suppose for a moment that organisms are a hyperstructural platform, right? In other words, you put billions of kinds of them together, and that creates a field that supports the possibility of extremely advanced versions of this possibility, right? What possibility? The possibility space of organismal, relational, biorelational hyperstructures, memory, temporal and physical transpresence. What do I mean by that? Think carefully about what I mean. I mean the localization of billions of years of history and billions of years of the future in one place, here, now. Bing, octopus, there's one of those, right? Bing, yellow jacket, there's another one. Bing, hummingbird, there's another one. Bing, oak tree, another one. Bing, lake. A complex hyperstructure outside of time, inside of time. You know, I was listening to this physics, oh my God, this smells incredible. Sage. Some kind of blue sage. And sneezing strangers. That's what I'm going to call this video. Sage and sneezing strangers. Triple S protocol. My goodness, there's so much to talk about here. Okay, so imagine that the fundamental basis of the universe is not merely intelligent, it's transcendent. And people in the back, I can hear people in the background, you know, logicians and semanticists and stuff going like, ah, he's out there making up words again. Oh, Jesus, transcendent. He thinks he's just making shit up. No, I'm not making shit up. You're transcendent. In fact, to know that you know means that you are not merely sentient. You are capable of metacognition, right? Organisms are transcendent. What do I mean by the trans part of that word? I mean beyond the things, beyond all the qualities and characteristics and abilities that humans have associated with sentience. I mean the possibility space outside of the things humans have pinned on the word sentient. And that's most of what's going on. The word sentient hasn't captured most of what sentience is. No. It's captured nearly nothing of what it is. A tiny little thing that means something like, oh, has experiences. Yeah, big deal. But this is the possession metaphor, which is the damage at the basis of cognition in English grammar. You don't possess qualities and characteristics. If existence was about possessing things, most of what we're capable of and do as humans would never happen. Because existence is about participation. It's literally about the grateful, humble, ecstatic, beautiful. Upgiving of possessiveness, of self. It's about giving away the self. People say, oh, nature's red in tooth and claw, the predators and the prey. Yeah, unless there's nothing to possess. Unless, you know, the baby deer that falls to the starving tigress somewhere, cougar, unless that baby deer was a bank-like thing in which the vault inside the deer, you know, the deer somehow possessed its own soul. What if it just goes now and gets born? What if those... Okay, what if the platform that the baby deer represents is not the important feature? What if the possession of the soul is not the important feature, but rather the soul's capacity to travel and to be reborn in a new expression of itself? Yeah. So the baby deer doesn't get to grow up and be a mama deer or a daddy deer. True. But the tiger's children grow up. And where does the soul of the deer go? Now, you can say, well, we don't believe in all of this soul nonsense. Go ahead, be my guest. But there's something transcendental to physical existence. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter what you call it. I just don't think that this is a game about possessions. We play the game as if it's about possessions, and the humans are particularly confused about this. And there's good reasons to be confused and to protect the beings we love, to protect our bodies and take care of them as vessels of intelligent, intelligible beauty and awe. Yeah, it's all good. You can protect it. But don't get confused. So what I'm trying to get at is, suppose that the situation from which the universe arises is fundamentally transcendent. And so the universe assembles only physical situations that express the character, urgencies, motivations, origins, natures of those transcendences, of the originary transcendent situation. Yeah? And so stars and galaxies and planets and nebulae and all these things, quasars, pulsars, black holes, white holes, dark energy, dark matter, the Oort cloud, ices and gases, and all of these things. Yeah. These are all expressions of the transcendent originary beings that in structure and instruct time-space. And when you have living planets like ours, you get this complex biorelational hyperstructure system, billions of trillions of trillions of trillions of trillions of trillions of cells. Like when Carl Sagan was alive and he would say billions and billions of stars. No. There's your own body has around 40 trillion animal cells.
Did we drop the book?
And around 42 trillion bacterial cells. And who knows how many viruses. So just you are trillions and trillions of cells. And those cells are doing things every second. They're doing billions of things every second. So they're very busy little structures. So you yourself are the kind of biorelational hyperstructure I'm talking about. Extend that to the planet, and what you get is a field effect, right? You get a transcendent superconducting symmetry system that is perfect for the transpresence, the intrusion into, of the transcendent beings whose natures underlie the structure and beauty and activity of space-time. And so imagine that humans are a platform, right? Because even if you think about what, say, the Buddhists say, or the Hindus, when they talk about reincarnation, what are they actually saying? They're saying something like, it at least resembles this, the construct you think of as yourself, the conglomeration, the manifold of you-ness, because it's not a static thing. That thing gets associated with bodies over time. So they're literally saying that there's something fundamental about you that isn't your body. You are not your body. Whatever you means, it cannot mean your body. Even though while you have one, or while one has you, is a better way of putting it, you're going to be very confused about this because you experience sensations with the body you have. So it occurs to me in the most beautiful way that humans are a platform for the transpresence of other intelligences. And if we think about organisms themselves this way, and that the entire biorelational hyperstructure of our living planet, what an exquisitely beautiful, amazing, paradisical world this is, until the humans start making war and machines and commerce nightmares all over the place. Think about the field effect here and its capacity to support ever more advanced versions of platforms for transpresence of non-human intelligences. Why do you think the intelligence that is yours is human? I don't think mine is. I don't think yours is. It's like confusing the brand name of the software that's running on a computational device with its function, right? And the humans do this all the time in linguistics. They confuse all kinds of things, but they do this specific thing over and over again. They confuse the branding with the activity. They confuse the word with the entity. They confuse something they can say with the function or a process. They think verbs are nouns, nouns are verbs. I mean, they get really confused. something from beyond time flows down into and inhabits organisms, so that there's it's like there's a kind of a three-body problem, except not the kind in the science fiction story. You have like the physical body and all of its features and aspects and dimensionalities and manifolds. And then you have a relational aspect, and then you have a memorial aspect, and these all flow into and out of the physical body moment to moment, right? As if, imagine there's like a number of relational strings that are loops, and the strings go into the planet, into the sky, into every life form on Earth, and they interpenetrate your body, and the strings, as they move around, they transport intelligence and food and energy between, and structured memory and all of these things between all of the participants in all of time. Because there's a position outside of time that is interpenetrating with our human mind. I want you to understand that there's no chance that you're what the humans told you. There's no chance of that. It's literally not possible. The humans have the dumbest ideas of the ontology of identity imaginable. The modern humans are dumber than humans have ever been about this. The ancient humans didn't have to have explicit stories about identity, but the modern humans, in their urgent quest for explicit stories about identity, that is a blobdy-glib. We know because of dibbity-blab. It's hard to imagine a dumber animal than us. Now, there's a bunch of sort of lost leaders here in my little talk, so let's try to go back and resurrect a few of them. The more diverse the field of organisms on a living planet, the more complex a summation lens of the local and extraterrestrial intelligences you can assemble, right? So the staggering diversity of life on Earth creates the possibility of supporting an animal as bizarre and complex as us, which is a perfect platform for the transpresence of both the sum of the terrestrial intelligences systems, like the bio-relational intelligence systems of Earth, and let's just talk a little more about those for a moment. Those are the most precious thing that can possibly exist. There's no commodity more precious than the anciently conserved ecologies. Those forms of life, time-space is dangerous. Any planet that manages to clear its orbit of impactites long enough to produce things like hands and physical eyes and things, that place is a living library of unimaginable precious value. It's not commercial value. It's isness value, right? It's the value of what can exist on that world, as that world, for that world, and all of these beautiful ways that they do here, right? The dolphins, the coral reefs, the plankton, the diatoms, the bacteria, the viruses, the amoeba, slime molds, the Amazon, Africa, the tundra, Antarctica, Alaska, the meadows, the jungles, the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the mountains, all of the living beings and places of the earth, infinitely profound and unimaginably precious. There's no commodity that you could possibly compare them to, because they produce platforms that can become ensouled, right? They produce these beautiful beings. And the possibility of experiencing, participating in, for the physical beings, the possibility of participating in the holy or divine or transcendental families of originary intelligences, and vice versa, the possibility of those transcendental intelligences directly participating, forging minds in organismal networks and participating in those networks. Not merely symbiotically, but the way that organs participate in the possibility of you being alive in this moment and listening and having your own thoughts and eating food and sleeping and being an animal, being an organism, being a being. The biorelational systems of Earth are probably connected directly to billions of other living worlds in such a way that they can instantaneously exchange evolutionary information. So that when you see a crab or an owl or a praying mantis, or you see a bee or an ant or a mouse, you're looking at a waveform, a standing waveform in time-space that represents the communion of living worlds in time-space. Right? It represents, if you could imagine each of the organisms as a particular way that the living worlds kiss one another, you'd be closer to what's going on than science will bring you. Right? The living worlds exchange intelligences in such a way that to be born on any one of them is to be born on all of them. Everything in time-space is available right here on Earth in a system like the one I'm proposing. This idea basically asks us to suppose, in the sense of theoria, suppose, that all places in the universe are self-similar. The incredible diversity of forms of life on Earth resembles the incredible diversity of forms of life in all of time and space. They're all self-similar. So if you get whales here, you got something whale-like elsewhere. And on other worlds, you might have the possibility of whales, but like the possibility space could support whales, but for complex situational reasons or circumstantial reasons, whales can't live there, so they live here. There's so many amazing ways to consider and perceive the profundity that is our situation. So many perspectives that are infinitely better than what humans usually use. I think for the first time I'm starting to understand what it is I see around me when I see nature. I'm starting to remember where this comes from, why it's here, quote, what it's for, unquote. to be honest, what it's for is so ecstatically beautiful that any linguistic description of it is basically like just wrong. Because what it's for is the possibility of purpose and beauty. What it's for the history and future of all beings, for their well-being and development and liberation. That's what it's for. Someone I spoke with the other day said something that made me suspect they thought that, and of course this is not an uncommon perspective, they thought that life is suffering. I get the idea. I've heard Buddhists say that there was a canonical Buddha who said this. I don't really believe it though. I'm sure that if I had cascades of monumental insight, maybe then I would come to the leash and say, yes, life is suffering. I've experienced suffering. I experience suffering. Life is fragile. Being incarnate is a really confusing and difficult situation for many of us, if not all of us. Especially as a human, because, wow, you're told all these nonsensical stories about what you are and are supposed to do and blah, blah, blah. I mean, even the idea of supposed to-ness is insane. What, is there some book by Johnny and Tony Sposta from Brooklyn that's got the fucking list of the things you're supposed to be and do and what? What are the humans thinking? This is insane. Like, whatever we're supposed to do, it sure as fuck isn't rip the place apart, kill each other's children, and try to exterminate the anciently conserved ecologies for the sake of stores filled with bullshit. For shopping experiences? There's no chance that's what we're supposed to do. So, the children are born and they see the world and they're like, the fuck is going on with these adults? They're batshit out of their mind. The adults are insane. What are they doing? Why would they do these things? And guess what? The adults have no explanation. Basically, when the children ask the adults, what the fuck is going on around here? Because you're doing all this war and other crazy shit. Commerce, banking, money, jobs? What? This is a world that's been enslaved by nonsense. And the children can see it, but the adults basically just, they do this crazy thing where they go like, look, the world is a way. And so you're going to have to get in the way the world is so that the world doesn't unweigh you and kill you, ruin you, or you won't have a home. You won't be able to pay the money to have a home. Now, there's lots of other ways to have a home than paying money, but you can't just be on land somewhere because all the land is owned by something or someone, which is the most ridiculous idea in the universe. I love when I hear ridiculous statements like, well, a UFO violated American airspace. I'm like, what? You think you own space-time? Chunks of space-time? Let me be really clear. Stuff in the universe doesn't give a flying fuck about your certificates of ownership or what you think you own. 0 fucks are given by the universe about ownership. None. No such thing. The whole idea of possessing something is one of the most lethal fictions in the entire history of human thought and language. The game here is mutual uplift and participatory ecstasis. Get other beings out of traps. That is the game here. Get beings out of traps. Stop making traps for beings and free the beings from the traps that are being made, and then break those systems that are trapping them and use the resources that the traps were composed with to do beautiful things in the world and in human and in the biosphere, in the biorelational hyperstructure that is the shared body of all living beings. I'm here to tell you that you are not human. The idea that you're a human is one of the biggest lies you were ever subjected to. It's absolute bullshit. There's no chance of that being true. Categorically, fact. Yep. Which species do you belong to? You can go ahead and say that your body is an exemplar of the Homo sapiens template. Yeah, that's true. Is that what you are? Not a chance. There's no chance that's what you are. In fact, what you are is not only infinite and astonishing and impossible in 5 new ways per second, right? It just keeps getting more impossible as time goes on. You're definitely that kind of a thing. You're an impossibility factory. That's what you are. It just keeps producing impossible potential spaces of ways of being, seeing, knowing, loving, learning, growing, remembering, originating, disappearing, adoring, dancing, singing, rescuing, resurrecting. Yeah, this is what you are. Russian children. Pravda. Pravda, he says to his mother. You are a standing wave of transcendent potential in time-space. Your capacities are infinite. There might be things you can say, well, I can't lift up the Empire State Building. Great. Guess what? That's one of the dumbest things that you'd ever want to have to think yourself limited by. Like, no, of course you can't kick the mountain over into Saskatchewan. Yes, no, you can't do that necessarily. But there's no reason for you to want to do that. Because what you can do is literally participate in the network of beings that transcends location and temporality. What you are made for are kinds of travel that the humans around you are too timid to imagine, let alone attempt. And you're made for that. You're born for that. You belong to the origin of the universe. That's your family, not the humans. Like William S. Burroughs once said, we are here to go. But even Burroughs didn't imagine, I don't think he realized the sophistication and beauty and depth of the actual situation we find ourselves in. You're not just here to go to space in a spaceship. You're here to go to other universes in a relationship. Literally. The transport is relation. It's mutual concern, awareness, engagement, activity, play, discovery, recognition, memory, beauty, for the sake of all beings in all of time. This is what we came here for. You happen to have, actually I think it has you, the human transpresence platform has a you-ishness. That's what's going on. But don't get confused and think that the platform is your identity. It's not. It never was. Also, don't go insane, right? You don't have to become a megalomaniacal or grandiose or paranoid or hyper pattern matching being. Don't get confused. Maintain local coherence in consciousness and explore swim backwards up the waterfalls that flow into you, creating the possibilities and the experiences of your consciousness, your awareness, your physicality, your soma, your memory, your mind, your being. Swim back up those waterfalls, which is what I myself am doing in order to make these recordings. And find the places, find the situation, the nature, the character of your origin, and your nature, and your character. And, if you want to, you don't have to stop there. You can go beyond. You can go beyond nature and character. You can go to no nature, no character. Pure ecstasis is your nature, right? No nature, no character, beyond all nature and character. What you might think of as effulgently pure, undifferentiated potential is actually your name. But, you don't have to go all the way to spaceship to infinity. You don't have to go all the way, right? You can cool your jets at the periphery of the membrane beyond which there is the unspeakable. I don't mean that in a dark way. I don't mean unspeakable in a dark way. I mean that in a mysterious way, like the essence of mystery, the core of the mystery of being. Well, that's you. All of the things, these are us. The tigers and the trees, the fishes and the birds, the insects and the plants, the rocks and the waters. These are you. This is you. One body here together, also many bodies here together, also other ways of seeing it. This amazing world is among the most beautiful of all worlds. And around here, nearby to this world, locationally in time-space, this place is famous. Everything in many thousands of light years knows this world has living water and is exploding into biorelational diversity. The earth is a well-known princess. I adore her. I believe in her. So too our sun, a well-known sun, locally, quite famous. The stars are more than merely beings. The planets are more than merely beings. You are more than merely a being. Don't let the humans talk you into a cage that's so tiny it can't contain a billionth of your nature, your origin, your character. Give all that up. Find a way to see and become what you came to Incarnation to experience, and also perhaps to participate in. The missions that mattered when you slipped down the sky fountain, probably helped by some trees near your mom at your moment of conception, and you became associated with that wave-like being that your mother would produce with her body. We ride light as minds. Our nature is beyond all of science, all of religion. It is certainly beyond everything that language can describe, can explain. We are here for the sake of ecstasy and liberation, of beauty, of origin, of memory. Oh, Mnemosine, remind me again where we come from, where we go. Oh, Hypatia, read to me again from the living library outside of time. Oh, Hecate, show me the herbs, the plants and the dusts and the venoms. Medea, sing to me of ecstasies that liberate us from fear and death. Joan of Arc, let your shield glint in the brilliant sunlight of being. Raise your sword against the prisons that have so long crippled and terrified our children. Let us arrive together, prepared for heroic and beautiful anamnesis and play and rescue. Let us discover all that was hidden as our species underwent the great and blinding darkness of our technological amputations, circumcisions, and despair. Beautiful human beings, transcendental in your nature and origin, I remember you now, here, forever, together. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to learning and seeing together again very soon. Bye-bye for now.